Hari Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Ashakala Shatara Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Om Jnanatirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamanyam Dadati Swapadantam Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Krupatamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinataram Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Narayanam Namaskrutyam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tatho Jayamudiram. Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining today's discussion. So in the next session, we will discuss a very important subject, what Mahabharata, Vyasadeva, and the sages have to say about wealth and how a person should manage wealth. So this is a very practical and very sensitive subject also, because excessive wealth also destroys a person, and having no wealth, the person anyway cannot do much, and he is not taken seriously also. So our Acharya Srila Prabhupada, he also struggled for so many years in India. He took sannyas, he wrote so many nice articles, he translated books to English, but nobody took him seriously. So he practically used to roam on the streets, and once he was even attacked by a bull and he was injured, and it was very difficult for him. But then Prabhupada followed Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's instructions. He went to the West, and from there ISKCON was established, and from USA, from New York, especially New York. And from New York, when people started coming, along with people came the resources, came the temples, came the books, and now ISKCON is a worldwide organization. So, and many people from India, in India there are such strict sannyasis, such strict renunciates that they don't even touch money, they don't touch wealth, they don't keep anything with them, and they used to many a times criticize Srila Prabhupada. He's dealing with so much wealth and so much organization. But then that is the practicality of life. That is what even Mahabharata is teaching. And that is what even Yudhishthir Maharaj is saying. So we'll see the discussion. So Sage Shaun. Okay, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
understand you covered some statements for regarding Shaunak Rishi also. So Shaunak Rishi was the leader of the Brahmins, and here also being the lead, he, some say around 10,000 Brahmins, they went with Yudhishthir Maharaj to the forest. And even when Yudhishthir Maharaj was king, he used to daily feed and take care of 10,000 Brahmins. And these Brahmins only performed yagna, yajan, pathan, pathan. They performed yagna, they performed worship to the Lord. They themselves studied the Vedic sciences and they taught the Vedic sciences. So here, now when the time has come, Shaunak Rishi is teaching the Vedic science to Yudhishthir Maharaj. And it's a very interesting discussion that they have. So, yeah. So Bhagavad Gita says, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi Dukha Doshanu Darshanam. That there, yeah, sure. So, there are four main problems of life: birth, death, old age, and disease. But then in these chapters, we see how Shaunak Rishi is going even in more details. He's describing the physical sorrow and the physical problems. He's describing the mental problems and the mental sorrow. And at a spiritual level, what problems and what sorrow comes to a living being. So it's a very Yudhishthir. Yes, yes, physical, yes. So it's going, even more in detail what Bhagavad Gita talks about. So the point number 17, so I have just summarized it. There is a discussion there, but Shaunak Rishi says that what is the problem of bodily sorrow? Bodily sorrow or physical inconvenience or pain is caused by disease, by unfavorable event, when one has to perform very hard labor, or when one loses things that are very dear to that person. So that causes physical or bodily problems. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Sorrow. So the example is Pandavas only. They were emperors, right? They were emperors and they had a position. They were the king of kings. But when they lost that position, they are, in the picture we can see they are as good as beggars. don't even have proper clothes. So isn't that bodily problem? Isn't that bodily sorrow? So that is, yeah. So that is bodily sorrow. And Draupadi is weeping. She was also subjugated to bodily sorrow. Problems of life. And yeah, and this chapter elaborates more. It gives more details. Okay. Yeah. And to overcome this bodily sorrow, Shaunaka Rishi describes the Kriya Yoga or the Karma Yoga. And a lot of verses can be seen in Bhagavad Gita, second chapter. I have listed them down. You have also prepared the slides for them. So here, say 255, 260, 260. So all these verses are, how one can overcome the physical problems, physical duality. Here it is taught about self-control, how one becomes transcendentally situated. Yeah. How one controls the senses, how one develops determination and discrimination. So all these are part of, they are part of how a person acts properly. And by acting properly, yeah. Determination. Determination. Yes. Discrimination to understand what is right, what is wrong, what I should do, what I should not do. That way. So all that, so by properly following Kriya Yoga, or by properly following this Karma Yoga, one can overcome these obstacles. The end of yeah, 67. Yes. This 67, 71. This is for the mind. Okay, so you at the bodily level, and there are also problems at the mental level. But when one has problems at the mental level, that impacts the body also. See, if we see the case of Pandavas, at the physical level, they have lost everything, but their mind is very strong. And they are determined. They are determined to learn the right thing, and they are determined to do the right thing. So even though, at a physical level, they are facing problems, but at the mental level, they are pretty strong. And Yudhishthir, all they are having some sorrow in their heart that, Draupadi was insulted. They have that sorrow, they have that anger. So those things are also there. We cannot deny that. But they have the means of coming above that situation. They have the means of rising above their physical problems, their mental problems, and refocusing their mind and their efforts to come up again in life. So that is what all this chapter is about, and that is what Mahabharata is about. That even if we are the pure devotees of Krishna, and even if a person is the best follower of Dharma, and the person is the strongest man, in the entire humanity, and the person is the best archer in humanity, still you will get problems at bodily level, at mental level. And even they have to undergo these practices to overcome. So Pandavas are teaching us that when you come under such situation, this is the way you rise above, and this is the way you come up in life. So these discussions, these topics are all about that. So those who are interested in improving their life, advancing in their life, and making their human life successful, so these are very important topics. And the bodily, yeah. So how? So by performing kriya means action. Okay, so it can also be called as karma yoga. So by performing action in the right way and avoiding action in the wrong way, you can counteract the problems of the body, and you can establish yourself in such a level that you don't get disturbed. Yeah. He described, yes. Yeah. Yeah, please. Yeah, you can read. Yeah. And even the chapter 3 verses are about how to eat. So if you come to the previous slide, yeah, they are. So how to eat your food, how to cook your food, and so these are all part of. See, everybody eats in this world, whether it is a human being or whether it's an animal or a fish or anything. So here, so these are some verses related to that yoga, which says what is the right way of eating food and right way to purify ourselves. So please read this also. This is also essential part of your bodily. Yes, of course, it's part of devotional service also, but it includes many aspects. So please read this. Yeah. 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 So that entire third chapter of Bhagavad Gita is of Karma Yoga, and just the important verses I have just mentioned there. But by So Krishna has given, or Vyasadeva has given all the solution for human beings, to overcome their problems. The question is like, do we read it? Do we understand it? And do we implement it? Okay. So now coming, yes. Now the next Shaunaka Rishi, yeah. Oh. So this was just about the physical, bodily related sorrow and their solutions. So next, then Shaunaka Rishi talks about the mental problems and mental sorrows. So again, there are these verses of second chapter that I have mentioned, but Shaunaka Rishi mentions a very beautiful, very short, simple solution, that those who are suffering from mental sorrow, to mitigate their mental sorrow and their mental anxiety, you just speak very sweetly with them, speak very nicely with them, understand what their problem is, or try to understand them and give them some facility, like whatever limited resources one has, just give them some little facility. And just by doing these simple things, the other person's mental sorrow and anxiety will go away. It is. So I'll give the example of Srila Prabhupada. So in the 1960s and 1970s, what happened is that in America, the culture of consumerism grew a lot. People were just buying machines and gadgets and cars and houses and money. And what happened is that the teenage generation of that USA, the teenagers of that time, they became frustrated with all that capitalism and consumerism, and they started becoming hippies. They started experimenting with drugs, LSD, because they were, they rejected that, the modern consumeristic lifestyle of that time. And, they started living as hippies. But then when Prabhupada went there, this is what Prabhupada did. This is how ISKCON started. Shaunaka Rishi's, simple teaching. What did Prabhupada did? Prabhupada, he first started Hare Krishna mantra, and whoever interacted with Prabhupada, Prabhupada spoke with them very nicely, respectfully. And Prabhupada used to say that my spiritual master has sent you all. You are not ordinary people. And that way, very nice. And even if they had some problems, he used to listen to them. And Prabhupada then started a storefront. The first ISKCON temple was a small gift shop. And in the gift shop, Prabhupada himself used to cook food and give the food to these hippies. He allowed them to come and chant in that gift shop. And, he gave whatever facilities Prabhupada could arrange that time. He gave those facilities to these people. And these people then became leaders of ISKCON. And from there, this entire ISKCON was established. But so Prabhupada gave respect. So see, they were teenagers who were used to alcohol and drug abuse. They didn't even bathe and didn't even of course, they didn't take bath. Okay, so that was the situation. But Prabhupada didn't reject them. Prabhupada understood that these young people, they're having this problem, they have this sorrow that they are not able to adjust to this new society and they have been rejected by their society. So they have this anguish and that mental disturbance in them. And they are trying to use the wrong thing to address that problem. But Prabhupada, he addressed it very nicely. He, of course, he had that spiritual power. But, we see that, the Shaunaka Rishi's principle is working so beautifully here. And that's what, many of the preachers, not only in ISKCON, but, many other preachers, even if you see the Buddhist monks, they are very humble. They talk very sweetly. They might, especially, these Buddhist monks in Tibet, they have very strong yogic sadhana. For hours, they don't need to breathe much. So many experiments have been done on them. But yet, their behavior and, they understand things very nicely, speaking very nicely, and giving water, giving food, just simple things. But this impacts, this takes away the people's mental anxiety and this pacifies their mind. And then that has a very positive effect. And Shaunaka Rishi says that in order to remove people's mental problems, you give them proper knowledge. So if we see the example of Arjuna, so before the war started, what was Arjuna's situation? He was having bodily problems, and worst was the mental problem he was going through. If we read the first chapter of Gita, it's Arjun Vishada Yog. So Arjuna is saying, I can't stand properly. My hands and legs are trembling. My bow is slipping away from my hand. And on top of that, what is this great sorrow and grief that is coming into my heart of killing my own family members? I can't face this, Krishna. I want to run away. I want to go to the forest. I want to run away. But then Krishna gave the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. And by this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, all Arjuna's doubts were cleared. And that mental anguish that he was going, that was removed. And what does Arjuna say in the 18th chapter of Gita? Nashta lobho smritir labdva karishye vachanam tava. That, oh Krishna, by this great knowledge of Gita that you have given to me, now my nashta moho, my illusion is destroyed. And my transcendental remembrance is awakened. And now I am ready to perform my dharma and perform what you ask me to do. So that is the power of spiritual knowledge, and that is the power of this right knowledge, giving the right knowledge to the person who's having mental problems. And that is how even Yudhishthir Maharaj, he overcame his mental problems. So this time you see, Yudhishthir Maharaj was very disturbed. He was troubled that how will I take care of these 10,000 Brahmins? What will happen to my brothers? I staked them in the gambling match. And now I am taking them to the forest. What will happen to my wife? I am taking her to the forest. There are wild animals, tigers, jackals, snakes, scorpions. There are rakshasas, there are the cannibals. What will happen to them? How will I take care of these people and how will I follow my dharma? And so Yudhishthir Maharaj, he pleads to Shaunak Rishi and the 10,000 Brahmins. He prays to them. He says, you don't come with me to the forest. I can't take care of myself and my own brothers. How will I take care of you all? So please don't come. But that is where Shaunak Rishi is now giving him the spiritual knowledge. He is giving him the right knowledge. And after that, Yudhishthir gains his determination. He gains his mental stability and he overcomes. Yeah, please. No, verses we have discussed. So okay. So these verses are to, address the mental problems and how to control the mind and improve the mind. There are many verses. Mental, yes. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Mm, 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 mm. Yes. Mm, to others. Mm, yourself. So, yeah. So for that, those verses of Bhagavad Gita and spiritual knowledge is there. Of course, if you find someone who will, so one is Prabhupada said association of devotees. So you find an association, you find a person, who will act with you to, help you out with your mental problems or mental anxiety, who will hear you nicely and who will help you in life. So that is one. And that Prabhupada also says, association. So when you get, find some in association. Yes. So that is one. And other is, you study spiritual knowledge. So that's where the knowledge part comes in. That's where Bhagavad Gita comes in. And Krishna is clearly saying those second chapter verses. Krishna is very clear what you have to do to resolve your mental problems. And as and how you resolve your mental problems, you attain various stages. You become pragna pratishtita, you become sthita pragya, then pragna pratishtita, then and slowly, Krishna has given that. You can say, just like in karate, you have, yellow belt, red belt, and the topmost is black belt. So in second chapter, Krishna has given that gradation. So when you study spiritual knowledge and you practice, you enforce, bring in spiritual practices in your life, slowly you will see, you will become, sthita pragya, then, so all those, if you read in the second chapter, all that is there. I'm just, so those, so those are the levels of, how you are overcoming your mental issues and you're becoming very stable in your life that you won't get disturbed. Okay. So the next points, there are, so then Shaunak Rishi goes ahead and, he gives all the disadvantages of wealth and, attachment. So those points I will skip because it's already late. Maybe you can read that, points from 18, 19, attachment, and wealthy man is fearful from everyone. Everyone tries to, take advantage of the wealth of a wealthy man. And all those you can read, but I will now come to so all these disadvantages Shaunak Rishi tells to Yudhishthir. So, even that thought came to my mind that if Shaunak Rishi is telling so many disadvantages of wealth to Yudhishthir, but Yudhishthir didn't say that, okay, now I don't want wealth and I don't want my kingdom and I live in the forest as I am, I'm happy as I am. No, Yudhishthir didn't say that. Then Yudhishthir came up with his own, you can say his own point of view and his own situation, and where he mentions the need and importance of wealth. And we all being householders, so it is more practical for us to understand. Of course, understanding the problems of wealth will help us, not to fall into that trap. But many a times, we are just told that, just give up wealth, just give up greed. And in that, many a times we fall in that trap and we don't understand that how wealth is required even for spiritual advancement and to make a person's life successful, human being's life successful. And here, it's a very important shloka from Chanakya. Chanakya says, teaching from Chanakya. So Chanakya. So Chanakya says, so Chanakya is a great teacher. He is also a devotee of the Lord. He appeared in Bharat, in India, during the time of Alexander's invasion. And very cleverly, he was a great politician and a great Vedic Pandit, great knowledge knower of Vedas. And his Chanakya Niti is even followed, to run the kingdom, to handle politics, to bring prosperity to the citizens. And even Chanakya bases his teachings on Shaunak Rishi's teaching. So that is parampara. From one sage, from one guru to the next guru, to the next guru, handover. So this teaching from Chanakya is very important. Even one of our our temple president, he wrote this book, okay, Money and Mahabharata. So it's a whole topic of research. But, the gist is Chanakya says that Sukham cha moolam artham, Sukham cha moolam dharmam, Dharmam cha moolam artham, Artham cha moolam rajyam, Rajam cha moolyam indriya nigraha. So, what is Chanakya saying? That a human being, he cannot live in misery and suffering always. A normal person will become mad. We are not Pandavas that, so much trouble comes and still we will say Krishna, Krishna. And, if we face some problems in life, it could be that, we could go in the wrong path. Okay, and it has happened to many people who couldn't bear it, who couldn't tolerate it. Under pressure, people even become cannibals, eating other human beings. Yeah. So that's why Chanakya says, "Ki sukham cha moolam dharmam." That how is it that prosperity, dharmic prosperity, not the prosperity of cheating and looting others and then becoming rich. No, this is integrated prosperity, dharmic prosperity. So dharmic prosperity is required. And even when we see Krishna, Krishna himself was so prosperous. Krishna's father, Vasudev, he had 900,000 cows. Just imagine 900,000 cows. So much land he had. So prosperity is required. Even great devotees have been prosperous. Even Prabhupada, he required resources to establish ISKCON. So that's what Chanakya says, that prosperity, that is Sukham, what is the root of that? How does it manifest? Just like fruit manifests when the root of the tree is doing its work properly. If the root of the tree doesn't provide nourishment to the tree, will you get the fruit? No. So in the same way, Chanakya says, Sukham cha moolam dharmam, that for dharmic prosperity, you need dharma. Dharma is the root. But how will you perform dharma? How will you perform charity and yagna and perform service to Krishna? So the root of dharma is artha. Artha means wealth. So when you have wealth earned from the right means, in the right way, that artha will advance you in dharma. And that dharma will then advance you in your prosperity and in your spiritual life. So this is what I want to focus on. I think our time is up. But those disadvantages of wealth, you read it, you understand it. And we have to understand that we have to save ourselves from, all that trap. But then, yeah, please. wealth. Yes. Is prosperity. So that's so all these problems due to wealth, Shaunaka Rishi is teaching to Yudhishthir and Pandavas. And finally, Shaunaka Rishi is telling, one should not be greedy, whatever comes to oneself, just take that and be happy and be content. All that Shaunaka Rishi is telling. But Yudhishthir Maharaj says, no, in the food of a grihastha, so when a householder, so what Shaunaka Rishi is telling is correct. But Shaunaka Rishi is a Brahmin and he is a renunciate. He has given up the world. Yudhishthir Maharaj is a king and he is a householder. Yudhishthir Maharaj is saying that from the food and from the earning of the householder comes the food of the devatas, the ancestors, the sannyasis, brahmacharis, the dependents, and also the animals. So if the householder, he doesn't earn properly, won't all these beings suffer? And hence Yudhishthir Maharaj is saying that wealth is required to take care of all these aspects, not only of oneself, but also of so many beings. So also we see that verse of Gita also, where, that mention of devatas is there. So we have to offer, our food to Krishna. We offer our food to Krishna. But, there are other people in India, who offer the food to their respective devata on whom they worship. So all this offering and then, offering. So now in India, there is the Pitru Paksha is going, offerings to the ancestors. Yes, for a householder, correct. Is the king? No. Exactly. Yes. Correct. Sannyasis, Brahmins, Brahmacharis, his own brothers and his wife. So Shaunaka Rishi, so Yudhishthir says, this is the dharma of a householder. And without proper wealth, how will a householder perform this dharma? So Yudhishthir Maharaj is asking this question. And then the next things are also mentioned, that for a grahastha, he should have at least these things in his house: a proper seating place for people who come, mats, mattresses, water, and sweet words. At least this is minimum he should offer to any guest or, anyone he invites to his home. So at least this is the minimum he should give. And then, there are those other points Yudhishthir Maharaj says. And then Yudhishthir Maharaj, contemplates how can he follow the teaching of Shaunaka Rishi and how can he also follow his householder dharma. So now he is in a dharma sankat. See, problems, dharma sankat means confusion. Confusion, what to do, what not to do. Right? Yeah, correct. Correct. Well, what should I follow? What is the right way? Yeah. So do you have any idea what is to be done? Yeah. See, we can't think. We can't think. So, but then Yudhishthir Maharaj, he consulted his priest, his Purohit, Dhaumya Rishi. And Dhaumya Rishi then went into meditation. See, there are many points, very important points. And each point, there are so many verses in Gita. We can't finish that. But what happened later is then, Dhaumya went into meditation. So that is the role of a teacher. So Yudhishthir Maharaj, he consulted his teacher, Dhaumya Rishi. Dhaumya Rishi went into meditation. And then Dhaumya Rishi came up with the solution. So Dhaumya Rishi said, "Oh Yudhishthir, you earned earlier, before the gambling match, you earned wealth by Yuddha and Yagna, by defeating your enemies and by performing Rajasu Yagna. You earned your wealth. But that wealth was lost in the gambling match. And that is not possible now. Now you don't have armies and you don't have kingdom. So now the way you have to earn dharmic prosperity is you perform tapasya. You perform austerities. And you please. So how is life, for a human being? What is who can we relate to directly, with our eyes as the provider of life on earth? Whom can we relate to? Yeah, as provider of life for the living beings on earth. It is the sun. When the sun gives sunlight and energy, that is where this whole cycle of life starts on earth. Correct? And even in Brahma Samhita, or even in Gita, it is said that Surya or sun, he is a part and parcel of Krishna. And his responsibility is to give good health and life to people on earth. So that's why Yudhishthir then performs, tapasya for Surya Dev, to sun god. He, goes into the river, submerges himself into the water, and, starts chanting the mantra. So in Mahabharata, that entire mantra is given. How to please. Yeah, and we need to complete also. Next time we'll discuss this interesting part. And yeah, please. Sun, Surya. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sun is by the sun only life is sustained on earth. If there is no sun, can you imagine life on earth? No life. Yeah. And even in Bhagavatam and Gita, this responsibility of sustaining life and giving good health to people is the responsibility of sun. So every devata has a responsibility. So that, yeah. Yes, 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 domain. Yeah, the sun is called the eye of Krishna. Eye. Yeah, in the Virat Rupa, sun is the eye of Lord Krishna. And sun, Krishna has entrusted the responsibility to Surya to sustain life and good health. Yes. Yeah, and regarding that sun, so Krishna himself says, there is a verse where Krishna says that Tapti Surya Madbhayat Mrutyus Charti Madbhayat, that it is only by my motivation and by my, my fear or my instruction that the sun, runs the cycle of day and night and sustains life on earth. And it is my Krishna is saying, yeah, Tapti Surya Mad Bhayat. Why is the sun burning himself? He is burning because of my instruction. And Mrutyus Charti Mad Bhayat. That in this world, death is wandering all over the place. And death is claiming its victims every moment. But why is death doing that? Krishna's instructions. That you couldn't catch? So the first statement is Tapti Surya Mad Bhayat, Mrutyus Charti Mad Bhayat. That on this planet Earth, death is wandering amongst all the living beings. Death, yeah, death, die, yeah. And every moment, death is claiming its victims. Every moment, someone or the other, some living entity, death is claiming. Some living entity is dying at every moment. Correct? That way, death is wandering all over the planet. And every moment it is taking someone. It is taking the life of someone. Why is death doing so? Death is doing that because of instructions of Krishna. Because Krishna has given that duty to death, to Yamaraj. So that verse is there in the scriptures. Krishna's statement is there in the scriptures. No, yeah, other scripture. I don't recollect the source, but Yes. Yeah. Everything under Krishna's control. Yeah. Yes. 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 So that verse is from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 25th chapter, 42nd. Mad bhayad vati vato ayam suryastapti mad bhayat varshnatin dripa dhati agnir mrutyuscharti mad bhayat. That because of Krishna, the wind blows. There is fear, the sun shines, the clouds send rain, the fire burns, and the death takes its toll. It's all because of Krishna.
ごめんなさい。本当聞けなかったんですけど、だから、また今度、募集しようと思います。ありがとうございます。
Okay, no problem. Sure, sure. Yes, yes. Yeah, yeah. So Shaunak, so Shaunak Rishi is telling that. So many a times, people like to become, Robin Hood. You don't know Robin Hood. So in the British folklore, there was a robber and a thief called as Robin. Yeah, and in Japanese, you can say, the gangsters. What are they called? Yakuza. Yakuzas. So, so what he used to do, he used to rob and cheat, take from someone, acquire wealth, and then give it to the poor people. So Shaunak Rishi is, saying that you need not do such activity that, you become greedy for wealth and, you do all sorts of activities to accumulate wealth. And then you say that, I will give it in charity and I will perform dharma. So there is no need for doing such a thing, because if you accumulate wealth by the wrong means, like, like a Robin Hood or like a Yakuza, so you will be performing lot of adharma. And that performance of adharma is like, applying dirt on your body. So first, it's like the elephant, no, not elephant bath, but, it's like you will first apply all the dirt and mud on your body, and then you will go to bathe and wash it off. So you will first perform all sort of nonsense activities to accumulate wealth. And it doesn't make sense. And then you will say that, oh, now I want to wash off this dirt and this sin. So I will now give charity and distribute the wealth. No, so it's yeah, correct. Yeah. So yeah. So that's what Shaunaka Rishi is telling you. You don't perform. You need not perform such activity. So that's what is mentioned there. Really, yeah. Yes. Yes. So I'll give you one live example. So in China, the CEO of Alibaba? A little bit, So he was a very poor man initially, but then he established a lot of business and he established this online marketplace called Alibaba. And he became one of the richest persons in China. But then now what has happened? I forget his name, the owner of Ali, Jack Ma. His name is Jack Ma. He's very famous. Lot of YouTube videos of Jack Ma of how to become successful and wealthy. But where is Jack Ma today? Hiding. Because so that point, it is given over there. A wealthy man has fear from the king. So who's the king of China now? Xi Jinping. And he is the president, right? He is as good as the king for lifetime. So Xi Jinping has cracked down very hard on all these businessmen. And that's why today Jack Ma is now running, he's hiding in Hong Kong somewhere, Hong Kong or Singapore. King, yeah. You just read, you Google it, you'll find this relevant information. So that one, so because he was so wealthy, he got noticed by the wrong elements. He was noticed by people that he should be brought down. Now here, in case of Yudhishthir Maharaj also, didn't his wealth act as his own enemy? When Duryodhana saw, oh, Yudhishthir has so much wealth, so much gold, mountains of gold, such precious gems I have never seen on earth. It has come from Jambudvip somewhere. Some such divine celestial wealth, not even human. So what happened because of that wealth? That wealth created enmity and jealousy and envy in Duryodhana. And then Duryodhana harmed. Whom did he harm? Yudhishthir only. Are you understanding? So in a way, Duryodhana, he has banished Yudhishthir, right? And he insulted his wife. What Draupadi had to undergo, even a slave never underwent in the Kuru dynasty. Even the maid servant or a maid slave never underwent what Draupadi had to undergo. And what was the trigger for that? What triggered that envy and that hatred in Duryodhana? When Duryodhana saw the wealth of Yudhishthir, he became exceptionally intolerant. Already he was envious and he tried to murder them. But now, because of that wealth, it instigated Duryodhan even more. Duryodhan, Shakuni, Karna. And they then went and harmed Yudhishthir. Correct? So that way, money works as one's enemy. Suppose, you are wearing lot of gold ornaments, lot heavy gold chain, and in Japan, lot of gold ornaments you are wearing. So will that gold help you or will that gold harm you? What will happen if you are walking on the street? Yeah, it will attract the thief and robber, right? And that thief might also harm you to steal your wealth, to steal your gold. That thief can come with a gun or with a knife. So that is how it is. So it, yeah, yeah, yes. Brahmins. Hmm. Correct. Hmm. Hmm. So this is also very important because that teaching is for us. It is less for Yudhishthir and more for us. Okay. And if you see, there was a transformation in Yudhishthir also after this teaching. So before this teaching, Yudhishthir was gambling away his brothers. He was taking, okay, Nakul, okay, gamble. Arjun is my stake. I am ready to lose him. But once he learned this knowledge, what happened? Yudhishthir didn't eat food unless his brothers had eaten sumptuously. That same Yudhishthir who was ready to gamble and stake away his brother, after learning, what is Yudhishthir doing? He's saying, no, I won't eat. I will not eat food till my 4 brothers eat and they are fed completely. Only when they are full, then I will accept my food. And that is a yagna. So there are 2 yagnas I have mentioned over here. One is Vigasa and other is Amruta. So that was the Amruta yagna that Yudhishthir started following. That I will first I will feed all my dependents. Then I will feed my own brothers. And only then I will accept food. So there are 2 yagnas mentioned. One is Vigasa and other is Amruta. So see the transformation of Yudhishthir. And it is all this divine knowledge. So that is what, Shaunak says, don't become pride. Don't get carried away by wealth. I'll cover that next time. It's too late. Yeah. See, yes. See, this topic is very deep and it's actually research level thing. But whatever little we can do, we will do. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yes. Thank you. We'll discuss. Vanchakalpataruvasya. Rupa Sindhu Bhyayavacha. Patitanam Pavane Vaishnave Namaha.
ありがとうございました。
ありがとうございます。